If you are wanting to stop loving a narcissist, then this will interest you. So how to stop loving a narcissist and what I've learned in the last 10 years. So this chap here, very handsome, younger looking chap, I posted this about 10 years ago. It's my most viewed video on YouTube. It's 176,000 views or something, which to me is crazy. But compared to a cat falling, I always say this, compared to a cat falling off a sofa, the views that gets are millions. You know, this stuff is small stuff, especially over that length of time. But this is kind of what I had. I'll just play the excerpt, the clip, and this is what I was saying about how to get over a narcissist. How to let go and stop loving a narcissist 10 years ago. And I want to share what I've learned in the last 10 years. So this is it.
Strangely, what most abusers don't do, victims of abuse don't do, is have those images, which, you know, we have our lovely ones, as the negative ones, the ones that are torturous, the ones that are difficult, the ones that are where they're either physically abusive, emotionally abusive, or sexually abusive. We don't, you know, we put those further away, into the grey area, and we hold on to the lovely ones, you know, which is kind of torturing our souls and ourselves. So instead, flip them round. If you want to let go of somebody, hold on to the negative ones and hold them really vividly in your mind. You might feel unkind doing it, but it's kinder to yourself. You can torture yourself and persecute yourself, and if you want to do that, you have your own permission to do so. But that is pointless, if you see my point. So if you come to the point where you've got that tipping point, you want to let go, and you just want to help yourself let go, then change the pictures around. So get those ones that are motivatingly negative, the not nice ones, the unpleasant ones, the difficult ones, the ones that confirm that that person is abusive to you, and hold those vividly. So when you think of that person, you hold those images, those memories closest to you. Don't lose the lovely stuff, you know, let that be a memory that you can pull back when you choose to. But don't let it steer you and drive you further into desperation.
So,
strangely,
that was the advice I gave, and obviously people are still searching that stuff. But what I've found over the last 10 years is that there's a lot more to this. There's a lot more to this, and that's kind of what I wanted to show you as it just comes up here. There's a lot more I wanted to show you from the last 10 years. Because that gets quite a lot of views in my world. In my world, that gets quite a lot of views. But there's a couple of words. For example, I couldn't spell. I'm dyslexic. There's a couple of words that I couldn't spell 10 years ago. It's probably more now. 13, 14 years ago. First one being what colour? First one being tsunami. I couldn't spell tsunami. I wasn't aware of that, but I couldn't spell it. And the other one was narcissist. I couldn't spell that all those years ago. And why that's relevant is because when my sister died in the tsunami in 2004, I learnt to spell tsunami. That had a massive impact, and you become familiar with all sorts of things. And strange as a dyslexic person, I became familiar with how difficult it was to spell tsunami, and I didn't really know the word tsunami beforehand. I think I was aware of what it was, but so that was a rude awakening. But as part of the British government offered counselling to the, I think, 129 families in the UK that had lost somebody in the tsunami, which was a wonderful thing, and it's a lovely thing that the government offered. And I had this experience of counselling, the first proper time I've had counselling at that time. And it was very interesting that over that period, I think just of 6 sessions, that to help me with my grief of losing my sister. Over that period of 6 sessions, what came up most was that I wasn't talking about my sister. I was talking about my wife at that time, my second wife. I was talking about my wife and the reaction she was having to it, and the reaction that was causing on me, and the impact on me of kind of restrictions she was putting on, and the way she was reacting to it. And the counsellor was reflecting that back, and it was like, isn't this interesting? And that led on to a whole new journey that really looked at this whole narcissistic thing, this whole emotional abuse, this whole understanding, this whole new level, completely new level of understanding, out of this kind of the questionings that came on here, and the answers I was giving. Really, and that doesn't look like an A, but there we go. The answers that I was giving, and it was really interesting to notice. And what I've seen out of that is the patterns. That it's not spotting these people out there. It's not spotting them out there. I'll do glasses because I've got glasses. So it's not spotting them out there in the world. It's actually, which I sort of thought, and then learning how to, and those tools and techniques for being conscious of what to help you stop loving. That's only a small part of it. The much bigger part is actually noticing who you're attracting with your magnetism. Who you're attracting, this bit up here, the magnet. You're being a magnet for abusers. And it's like you're attracting abusers towards you. And it's like, holy moly. Holy moly, how come I doing that? Why am I doing that? That's what I want to solve. So I want to solve this bit to stop repeating the patterns. And that's what I found I was doing. I was repeating my patterns again and again. And it's like, why am I doing this? Because I can spot people that are abusive, I can spot people that like to dominate and control others. But how come I was repeating the patterns? It's like, holy moly. Well, it's a polite way of saying swearing. But it's like, what's going on? And since then, the work I've been doing over the last 13 plus years has been going deeper. And in fact, there's this, I've done videos on the shadow side. And for me, this is very reflective of the shadow side. There's stuff going on here. There's a darkness. Oh, maybe I should go to the darkness here. There's a darkness that's here, that's growing, and that's here from our childhood and all this stuff that I kind of call self-esteem and wrap it up in that. But there's a negativity, a darkness, and that darkness grows if you don't address it. And the impact that I was having on me was I was giving my power away. I was failing. In so many things, in my business, in my relationships, in kind of in life, financially, struggling with my kids, be the dad that I wanted to be. And it was like, why is this stuff happening? What's going on in my life? And it came down to this darkness. And this darkness grows unless you address it over time. And what that does is restricts you. It restricts life. I can't do two things at once. Restricts your life. And what it does, it continues to restrict life, but so subtly that you don't notice it. But what it does have you doing is repeating these patterns. It has you repeating these patterns. But it gets gradually worse, but you don't notice it. And you keep attracting the wrong people. You keep attracting people that dominate over you, and you give your power away. That's a phrase I use quite a lot. But you need to stop attracting them. So that means growing your self-esteem, addressing the darkness. So this area here, this is what we need to address, the darkness. So how the hell do you, how do you, and this is a kind of an analogy, obviously not a physical darkness, because the thought patterns, well, you can actually see them with scans these days. You can see that, the technology has moved so much, you can see neural pathways. So we've created these neural pathways, but the negative ones are what I'm calling the darkness. And how to, address that in your brain to stop you being subservient, to stop you being this kind of shadow of yourself, to be, giving away your power, subservient. I have to say that out, subservient, and that might be really subtle. You just agree too easily. You're too compliant with other people. You give away your power, but your negative thoughts hinder your actions. So instead, if you're trying to build a business, if you're trying to go for a job, if a better job, if you put yourself down too much, and that stops you taking the risks. this is the stuff, the darkness, this is the stuff that really just grows and grows and grows. And it has such a massive impact on your life. And that's what I discovered 10 years ago. It's not just about having techniques to stop loving somebody, because guess what? You're just going to go and attract the same sort of person. You're going to attract, you're magnetize, you're attracting and seeking out. Oh my God, seeking out that sort of person. And it's all going on all the time, but you don't realize, because it's in the subconscious part of the brain. And that's like crazy, but you can't see it, you can't be aware of it unless you have a certain approach, a certain regime, a process to go through. It's really, really, really difficult to see, and even more difficult to address. So my invitation to you is, because I can't go into how all the different ways you do this, but my invitation to you is to be bold enough to start that journey. Be bold enough to start that journey, because it's transformed my life. I help transform the lives of other people within the program. But it's like, wow, it's taken me 13 plus years to get to this point, because at different stages I thought I got it. And it's like, no, I'm still repeating patterns. What is it? This darkness. So my encouragement to you is to really start that journey, really take this stuff seriously. I always welcome people to get involved in the conversation, reply to me, because that darkness only grows. The darkness only grows. So it's going to limit your life in a exponential way. It's going to continue to grow, even if you're putting an optimistic view on it, even if you're trying harder, even if if you have that darkness within you, it's going to grow. So my encouragement to you is, and my invitation to you is, be bold, start that journey, look at this stuff seriously, engage in a conversation, just have a conversation with me about this, because I'm sure some of the things that I've been through, you will recognize in yourself as well. And that's being bold enough to take the action to address this stuff, because you absolutely can address this darkness and reverse it. But you have to embrace the dark side, if you like, rather than ignore it. I hope that's of interest to you. It's something that I'm really passionate about. It's something that's really important to me, something that I don't see in the outside world so much. I don't see courses, because if you buy a course on marketing or business to solve the business problem that you've got, it won't work, because of all this darkness in your brain, and that only grows and compounds the more you fail, the more evidence you get that you're not good enough, that you're stupid, you're not worthy, you're not, all this stuff which is inherent in the darkness. That is what it is. It's all this negative thought pattern, the neural pathways. How to change that? You can, but it's not as easy as just a quick belief changing pattern that I learned years ago, and I thought, woohoo, this is going to change everything, it's going to be cool. Doesn't solve the problem. So it's a sequence of all these different things that I've learned over the last 13 years, but it's, by God, it's a bugger, because we keep attracting these wrong relationships. We keep attracting failure towards us. And that's in business, if you like. We keep attracting failure. So if you want to change that, if you want to have, particularly this time of year, if you want to have a better year this year, then and you're experiencing some of this stuff that I'm speaking about, you can relate to this, then have a conversation. Be bold enough to take the first action, which might be having a conversation with me. Go to other people by all means, but take action on your dark side. Many thanks. Hope this is of interest to you. Speak to you soon. Have an awesome rest of the day. All right. Bye-bye.